Well, one of the biggest issues is that our irrigation system uses a lot of potable water. In fact, when you look at the college records, you see that irrigation accounts for the second largest portion of the budget after the cafeteria in terms of water use. Now, what that means is that we're taking potable water and spreading it on the grass, and we don't really need to have potable water in order to do that. In addition, what that means is that we're getting charged a sewerage fee, I believe, to take any water that we get from the city and flush it out in the sewers, and that water doesn't go into the sewer. Well, I think in terms of our irrigation use, the answer is clearly yes. Most of the campus is a floodplain, and that floodplain is saturated with water between the bedrock sediment interface and the surface. So if we just took a well, drilled a well there, we should be able to pump out abundant water, abundant enough to irrigate not only our playing fields, but really the entire campus. And that water would then recirculate right back into the same ground that we pumped it from. Well, I think the biggest issue is probably in just getting the permission to drill the well. And I think that's already been taken care of by the administration, but there are complications in that we have to swear that we won't use that water for drinking purposes, and I think particularly in a drought time, the city's been fairly accommodating with letting us do that. Well, I think the main person then will be Deborah Hall and the chief of maintenance, because they understand where the water lines are and how we are billed, how we use the water. They have all the past records, so they could model how much money we would need to spend in order to drill the well, and then how much money we would potentially save once the well was drilled and the water was in use. You know, that's a question we'd have to do a little bit of research on, but I think any driller would be able to tell us what he charges for drilling a well per foot. Last time I checked, which was several years ago, it was $7 or $8 per foot. And I can't imagine we would have to drill more than 100 feet before we hit bedrock anywhere on this campus. So we're talking $700 or $800. And I'll bet you we could pay off that, plus any additional costs of piping the water and storing the water in a very short period of time. Yeah, this is the diagram. Just looking at it, I haven't been able to go out there and make any measurements, but we would need to do a seismic study to see how deep it really is to bedrock. But basically, this is all bedrock, which is impervious. And so we have King Creek flowing on the floodplain down here, and it's off to one side. Water is leaking out of King Creek into the sediment. We also have water leaking out of the French Broad River somewhere out here back into the sediment. So my estimation is that not too far below the surface there, we're going to hit the water table, and that water table is going to go all the way down to the bedrock. So if we just take drill a well and try to drill it where it's likely to be the deepest part, which should be roughly halfway between the hill on Neely Road and the hill over toward Ross Hall. We should be able to get a maximum amount of water-saturated sediment, and that water-saturated sediment will just drain into the well. Then with a pump, we can pump it out, pump it up the hill to the existing storage tanks where the old sewage treatment plant was, up on the hill. Then we would need one more pump to pump it out of the tanks when it was needed for irrigation. And that pump would have to have enough force on it to force the water into the irrigation system so that the sprayers would actually work as they're supposed to do. So the costs then are the drilling of the well, the material for the pipeline, and then the two pumps, one to pump up to the tank and one to pump into the irrigation system.